First contact and conflict. The vast emptiness of space had always called to humanity, a siren song of endless possibilities and untold wonders. It was this very call that led the crew of the Earth ship Horizon to the edges of known space, pushing the boundaries of human exploration further than ever before. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling nebula displayed on the main view screen. The colors of cosmic dust and newborn stars painted a breathtaking vista that still, even after years in space, made her catch her breath. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Rajpatel from his station, his voice cutting through the low hum of the ship's systems. "We're picking up an anomalous reading at the edge of the nebula." Chen turned, her interest piqued. "What kind of anomaly, Lieutenant?" Patel's fingers danced across his console, bringing up more detailed scans. "It appears to be artificial in nature, ma'am. Definitely not a natural phenomenon." The atmosphere on the bridge shifted instantly, a mix of excitement and apprehension filling the air. First contact. The words hung unspoken between them all, a possibility they had trained for, but never truly expected to encounter. "Bring us in closer, Helm," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline beginning to course through her veins. "But keep us at a safe distance. Let's not be too eager." As the Horizon drew nearer to the anomaly, its true nature became clear. A massive ship, easily dwarfing their own vessel, hung in space at the nebula's edge. Its design was utterly alien, all sweeping curves and iridescent surfaces that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Open a channel," Chen commanded, straightening her uniform. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for, dreaming of, for centuries. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." For several tense moments, there was no response. Then suddenly, a beam of light shot out from the alien vessel, engulfing the Horizon in a soft, pulsating glow. "Captain," Patel called out, alarm evident in his voice. "They're scanning us, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before. It's reading our biology, our very DNA." Before Chen could respond, a voice filled the bridge. It was unlike anything they had ever heard before, a mixture of clicks, whistles, and deep, resonant tones that somehow coalesced into understandable speech. "Greetings, Earth ship Horizon. We are the Zarthak. Your presence has been noted and analyzed." Chen exchanged glances with her crew, a mixture of awe and wariness on their faces. "Zarthak, we are honored to make your acquaintance. We represent humanity and come with an open hand of friendship." There was a pause, and then the alien voice spoke again. "Your species is intriguing. We would like to invite a delegation aboard our vessel for further discussion." Something in the way the alien voice hesitated made Chen's instincts flare, but the opportunity was too great to pass up. "We would be honored," she replied. "I will lead a small team to your ship." As Chen prepared for the historic meeting, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The way the aliens had scanned them, their odd pauses, but she pushed these thoughts aside. This was too important to let paranoia interfere. Hours later, Chen found herself standing in a vast chamber aboard the Zarthak ship, surrounded by beings that defied easy description. They towered over the human delegation, their bodies a shimmering mass of tentacles and crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with inner light. "We have studied your kind," the lead Zarthak said, its voice resonating through the chamber. "You are unique among the species we have encountered." Chen nodded, trying to keep her composure in the face of such alien majesty. "We are a young species, still learning about the galaxy and our place in it." The Zarthak's body rippled, a gesture Chen couldn't interpret. "Young, yes, but also dangerous." The word hung in the air, heavy with implication. Chen felt her muscles tense, that earlier sense of unease returning full force. "Dangerous? I assure you, we come in peace." "Peace," the Zarthak repeated, the words sounding almost mocking. "You say this, But your very biology betrays you. We have seen the potential within you, the chemical cocktails your bodies produce in times of stress or excitement. Chen's mind raced, trying to understand what the alien was getting at. You mean our hormones? Adrenaline. Yes, the Zarthak hissed, its body pulsing more rapidly now. A species that becomes stronger, faster, more alert in the face of danger. A species addicted to its own survival. Such potential, such a threat. The realization hit Chen like a physical blow. The Zarthak didn't see them as potential friends or allies. They saw humans as a danger to be neutralized. We have no hostile intentions, Chen said, her voice firm despite the fear gripping her heart. Our biology is simply a product of our evolution. It doesn't define our actions or our ethics. But even as she spoke, Chen could see the Zarthak were not swayed. Their bodies were now a frenzy of motion, pulsing with what she could only interpret as agitation or aggression. You cannot be allowed to spread, the lead Zarthak declared. The galaxy is not ready for such volatility. In that moment, Chen knew that diplomacy had failed. Her hand moved to the emergency beacon on her belt, a movement that did not go unnoticed by the Zarthak. Restrain them, the alien leader commanded. As tentacles lashed out towards her and her team, Chen's finger found the beacon. As she pressed it, sending a desperate signal back to the horizon, she felt her body responding to the threat. Her heart raced, her senses sharpened, and time seemed to slow down. In that moment of heightened awareness, as she dodged the first grasping tentacle, Captain Sarah Chen realized the terrible irony of their situation. The very thing that made the Zarthak fear humanity might be the only thing that could save them now. The first battle in humanity's greatest war had begun, and the fate of their species hung in the balance. As Chen fought for her life and the lives of her crew, she couldn't help but wonder, was this how humanity's grand adventure among the stars would end, or was it just the beginning of something far greater and more terrible than they could have ever imagined? The human edge. The aftermath of the disastrous first contact with the Zarthak sent shockwaves through human society. Captain Sarah Chen and her team had barely escaped with their lives, their desperate flight from the alien vessel becoming the stuff of legend. As news of the encounter spread, humanity was forced to confront a harsh reality. They were not alone in the universe, and their first alien neighbors were far from friendly. Dr. Elias Corey sat in his lab at the newly established Xenobiology Research Center, poring over the data collected during the Horizons encounter. His eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep, but a manic energy seemed to radiate from him. "It's incredible," he muttered, more to himself than to his assistant, Dr. Maya Patel. The Zarthak were right about one thing. Our biology is unlike anything they've encountered before. Maya leaned in, examining the holographic display hovering above Elias's desk. But how does that help us? They see us as a threat because of it. Elias's eyes gleamed with excitement. That's just it, Maya. They fear what they don't understand. But if we can fully comprehend and harness our own potential, we might just have a fighting chance. The next few months saw a flurry of activity as scientists around the world threw themselves into understanding the full capabilities of the human body. The Zarthak scans, obtained during their brief peaceful interaction, provided invaluable data on how alien biology perceived human physiology. Elias and his team made breakthrough after breakthrough. They discovered that the human stress response, the release of adrenaline, cortisol, and other hormones, was far more potent and adaptable than anyone had previously realized. It's not just about fighting or fleeing, Elias explained to a room full of military and government officials. Our bodies are capable of entering states of heightened perception, accelerated healing, and even temporary superhuman strength, all triggered by our own biochemistry. General Laura Hawkins, a grizzled veteran who had been put in charge of Earth's defense, leaned forward. "And you think we can control this? Harness it?" Elias nodded emphatically. "With the right training, absolutely. We've already begun developing protocols to allow individuals to consciously trigger these responses. As Elias spoke, Maya activated a holographic display showing test subjects performing extraordinary feats, lifting impossible weights, processing complex information at lightning speeds, even demonstrating limited precognitive abilities in high-stress situations. "My God," someone whispered, "we're our own superpower." In the months that followed, a global initiative was launched to implement Elias's findings. Special training programs were established, combining intense physical conditioning with mental exercises designed to give individuals greater control over their own biochemistry. Sarah Chen, now hailed as a hero for her actions during first contact, was among the first to volunteer for the program. She threw herself into the training with a fervor born of both determination and a desire for redemption. Every night, she dreamed of the Zarthak, their alien forms reaching for her with grasping tentacles. Every day, she pushed herself harder, determined to be ready when they inevitably returned. As humanity prepared, the Zarthak were not idle. Reports from deep space probes and covert reconnaissance missions painted a grim picture. The aliens were amassing a fleet, clearly intent on neutralizing what they saw as the human threat. It was on a crisp autumn morning, nearly a year after first contact, that the Zarthak made their move. A massive fleet of alien ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, their intentions clear. In orbit around Earth, a hastily assembled defense fleet stood ready. At its heart was the Defiant, a new flagship built with reverse-engineered Zarthak technology. On its bridge stood Captain Sarah Chen, her posture rigid, eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. "All ships, battle stations," she commanded, her voice calm despite the adrenaline already beginning to course through her veins. Thanks to her training, she could feel the change coming over her, senses sharpening, reflexes quickening, mind racing with tactical possibilities. As the Zarthak fleet drew closer, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The aliens thought they knew what humans were capable of, but they had no idea what humanity had become in their absence. The first shots were fired, lances of energy streaking across the void of space. The battle for Earth had begun, and with it, the true test of humanity's newfound abilities. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, coordinating the human fleet's movements with inhuman speed and precision. Around her, her crew operated with similar enhanced efficiency, their bodies and minds operating at peak capacity. Evasive maneuvers. Sarah barked as a Zarthak cruiser unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes. The Defiant rolled and twisted in space, avoiding the deadly projectiles with a grace that seemed impossible for a ship its size. As the battle raged, it became clear that the human fleet, though outnumbered, was far from outmatched. Ships danced through space in complex patterns, their crews enhanced reflexes and decision-making abilities, allowing them to perform maneuvers that confounded the Zarthak. On the Defiance bridge, Sarah felt a surge of fierce pride. This was humanity at its best, resourceful, determined, and now, thanks to their own biology, more than a match for the aliens that had once dismissed them as primitives. But the Zarthak were not easily defeated. As the battle wore on, they began to adapt, their tactics evolving to counter the humans' unexpected prowess. The tide of the fight began to turn, with more and more human ships falling to the relentless alien assault. Sarah gritted her teeth as another friendly blip disappeared from her tactical display. They were losing ground and fast. It was time for a gamble. "All ships, this is Captain Chen," she broadcast to the fleet. "Implement Operation Slingshot. I repeat, Operation Slingshot is a go." A chorus of acknowledgments came back, and Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. Operation Slingshot was a desperate plan, one that would push their enhanced abilities to the absolute limit. As one, the human fleet began to move, forming a complex, three-dimensional formation. The Zarthak, sensing victory, pressed their attack, pouring fire into the seemingly vulnerable human ships. But it was a trap. As the aliens committed their forces, the human ships suddenly scattered in all directions, moving with impossible speed and precision. Before the Zarthak could react, they found themselves surrounded, caught in a crossfire of their own making. "Fire everything," Sarah commanded, and the space around Earth erupted in a firestorm of energy weapons and missiles. The Zarthak fleet, caught off guard by the audacious maneuver, suffered heavy losses in those first crucial moments. Ship after ship exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. As the aliens attempted to regroup, Sarah allowed herself a moment of hope. They had bloodied the Zarthak's nose, proven that humanity was not to be underestimated. But she knew this was only the beginning. The battle raged on, a titanic struggle that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but of humanity's place in the galaxy. And as Sarah Chen led her people in the fight of their lives, she couldn't help but wonder, what other latent abilities might humans possess? And how far would they have to push themselves to survive in this new hostile universe? The war for humanity's future had truly begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Galactic politics and alliances. The battle for Earth had sent ripples across the galaxy. News of how a supposedly primitive species had not only held their own against the mighty Zarthak, but had actually driven them back, spread like wildfire through interstellar communication channels. The galaxy, it seemed, was paying attention to humanity. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth found itself thrust onto the galactic stage. The United Earth government, hastily formed in response to the alien threat, now faced the monumental task of navigating interstellar diplomacy. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood before the Galactic Council, her heart pounding but her voice steady. The chamber was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, some humanoid, others defying easy description. All eyes, sensory organs, and other perception apparatuses were fixed on her. Esteemed members of the council, Elena began, her words translated into a dozen different languages by the advanced AI interpreter at her throat. Humanity comes before you not as conquerors or aggressors, but as a species fighting for its right to exist. She went on to describe the unprovoked attack by the Zarthak, humanity's desperate struggle for survival, and the latent abilities they had discovered within themselves. As she spoke, she could see the reactions rippling through the assembled aliens: surprise, skepticism, and in some cases, fear. "We seek not domination, but cooperation," Elena concluded. "We believe our unique abilities can be a boon to the galaxy, not a threat. We ask for the opportunity to prove ourselves as worthy members of the galactic community." As Elena finished her speech, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. Some were supportive, intrigued by the potential of this new species. Others were wary, echoing the Zarthak's concerns about the danger humans might pose. From the shadows of the chamber, a pair of glowing eyes watched the proceedings with keen interest. Ambassador Zix Era of the Voidwalkers, a species known for their enigmatic nature and advanced technology, saw an opportunity in these humans. As the debate raged on, Zixera approached Elena. "Your species is fascinating," Ambassador Rodriguez, the alien said, its voice a melodious whisper. "Perhaps we could discuss a more personal alliance." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the battle against the Zarthak continued. Though the initial invasion had been repelled, the aliens were far from defeated. Skirmishes broke out across the solar system as both sides probed for weaknesses. Dr. Elias Curry and his team worked tirelessly to unlock more of humanity's hidden potential. Each breakthrough brought new hope, but also new ethical dilemmas. "We've discovered a way to temporarily boost cognitive function by 300%, Elias explained to General Hawkins. "But the long-term effects are unknown. We could be risking brain damage or worse." Hawkins frowned, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. "And if we don't use it, we risk extinction." "Proceed with caution, Doctor, but proceed." As humanity pushed the boundaries of their own biology, the Zarthak were not idle. Stung by their defeat and fearful of human potential, they sought powerful allies of their own. In the treacherous region of space known as the Maelstrom, The Zarthak emissary approached the lair of the swarm. The insectoid species was known for its ruthlessness and its ability to overwhelm enemies through sheer numbers. "The humans are a plague," the Zarthak emissary chittered to the swarm queen. "Left unchecked, they will upset the balance of the entire galaxy. Join us, and together we will exterminate this threat." The swarm queen's multifaceted eyes gleamed with cruel intelligence. "And what do we gain from this alliance?" "Earth," the Zarthak replied. "A fertile world, ripe for colonization once the humans are gone." As alliances formed and battle lines were drawn, humanity found itself at the center of a growing galactic conflict. Some species saw them as potential saviors, a bulwark against the often oppressive Zarthak. Others viewed them as a dangerous wild card, a threat to the established order. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood on the bridge of the newly christened HMS Prometheus, Earth's most advanced warship. A holographic display showed the current state of the galaxy, with potential allies highlighted in green and known hostile forces in red. "The Voidwalkers have agreed to share some of their cloaking technology," her XO reported. "But the swarm's movements are troubling. Intel suggests they're massing for a major offensive." Sarah nodded, her enhanced mind rapidly processing the strategic implications. "Alert the Rim Defense Fleet. If the swarm is joining the Zarthak, we'll need every advantage we can get." As if on cue, a priority message flashed across her console. It was from Ambassador Rodriguez on the Galactic Council station. "Admiral, we have a situation. The Council is deadlocked on whether to intervene in the conflict. Some members are pushing for a quarantine of human space to contain the threat." Sarah's jaw clenched. Politics. Even with the fate of species hanging in the balance, some things never change. "Understood, Ambassador. Do what you can to sway them. In the meantime, we'll prepare for the worst." As Sarah issued orders to her fleet, her mind couldn't help but wander to the bigger picture. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, unlocking abilities they never knew they possessed. But would it be enough? The galaxy was vast, filled with ancient species and technologies beyond their comprehension. Yet even as doubt crept in, Sarah felt her body responding, that familiar rush of chemicals sharpening her senses and steeling her resolve. This was what the Zarthak feared, she realized. Not just their abilities, but their indomitable will to survive, to thrive against all odds. An alert klaxon jolted her from her thoughts. Multiple contacts detected at the edge of the system, her sensor officer reported, voice tense. Energy signatures match Zarthak and something else. "It's huge, Admiral." Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the incoming data. The Zarthak fleet was larger than anything they'd faced before, and at its heart was a massive ship unlike anything they'd ever seen. The swarm had arrived. "All hands, battle stations," Sarah commanded, her voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "This is what we've prepared for. Whatever happens next will decide the fate not just of humanity, but of the galaxy itself." As klaxons blared and crew members rushed to their posts, Sarah allowed herself one last moment of reflection. They had come so far, pushed themselves beyond all known limits. Now it was time to see if it would be enough. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin, and the entire galaxy watched with bated breath. The Great Push. The void of space erupted into a dazzling display of destruction as the combined Zarthak and Swarm fleet engaged the human defenses. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the helm of that HMS Prometheus, her enhanced senses processing the chaos of battle with preternatural clarity. "Evasive maneuvers," she barked, her voice carrying over the din of alarms and status reports. The Prometheus responded instantly, its experimental neural interface translating Sarah's thoughts into action faster than any manual control could manage. The massive ship pirouetted through space, narrowly avoiding a barrage of Zarthak energy weapons. Around them, the battle raged, a deadly dance of human ingenuity against alien might and numbers. "Admiral," her communications officer called out, "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's Dr. Corey." Sarah nodded, her mind already anticipating what was to come. "Put him through." The haggard face of Dr. Elias Corey appeared on a nearby screen. "Admiral Chen, we've done it. Project Prometheus is ready." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge crew. Project Prometheus had been the code name for humanity's most ambitious and controversial research yet, a way to push their newfound biological abilities to the absolute limit. "Are you certain it's safe?" Sarah asked, even as she knew the answer. Elias's expression was grim. "As safe as it can be, given the circumstances. We're out of time, Sarah. It's now or never." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on her. "Understood. Transmit the activation codes to all ships. May God have mercy on our souls." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to address her crew. "This is it, people. Everything we fought for comes down to this moment. Activate Project Prometheus." Throughout the human fleet, specially trained crew members began the activation sequence. Biometric scanners hummed to life, analyzing each individual's unique physiology and tailoring the Prometheus protocol to their specific genetic makeup. Sarah felt the change almost immediately. It was like her previous enhancements, but magnified 100-fold. Time seemed to slow to a crawl, her perception expanding to encompass the entire battlefield. She could see the minute adjustments in the enemy ship's movements, predict their attacks before they happened. But it wasn't just tactical awareness. She felt stronger, faster, her very cells seeming to vibrate with newfound energy. And she knew that across the fleet, every human was experiencing the same transformation. "All ships," Sarah commanded, her voice resonating with newfound authority. "Commence Operation Spearhead." The human fleet moved as one, their movements so precise and coordinated that it seemed impossible. Ships wove between enemy fire, retaliating with pinpoint accuracy. Fighters danced through the void, outmaneuvering swarm drones with impossible agility. On the Zarthak command ship, the alien admiral watched in growing horror as the tide of battle shifted dramatically. "Impossible," it chittered, its tentacles writhing in agitation. "Their movements, their reaction times, they've evolved mid-battle." The Swarm Queen, linked psychically to her drones, felt the change as well. For the first time in millennia, she felt something akin to fear. These humans were adapting faster than even her ever-evolving swarm could match. As the battle raged on, news of humanity's resurgence spread across the galaxy. On the Galactic Council Station, Ambassador Elena Rodriguez felt a surge of hope as reports came in. "Esteemed council members," she addressed the assembled aliens, her voice strong and clear. "You see now what humanity is capable of. We fight not just for ourselves, but for all those who would stand against tyranny and oppression." The council chamber buzzed with excited and fearful murmurs. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting before their very eyes. Back in the heart of the battle, Sarah Chen and her enhanced crew pushed the Prometheus to its limits. The ship moved like a living thing, anticipating and countering every enemy move. "Target the swarm command ship," Sarah ordered, her enhanced mind formulating strategies faster than she could vocalize them. "If we can take out the Queen, the entire swarm will fall into disarray." The Prometheus surged forward, its advanced weapon systems locked onto the massive swarm vessel. Other human ships fell into formation, creating a spearhead aimed at the heart of the enemy fleet. The Zarthakan swarm forces, caught off guard by the humans' sudden increase in capability, struggled to regroup. Their carefully laid plans fell apart in the face of humanity's unpredictable and ever-adapting strategies. As the Prometheus closed in on the swarm command ship, Sarah felt a moment of clarity. This was what set humans apart, not just their ability to adapt, but their drive to push beyond their limits, to evolve in the face of adversity. "Fire all weapons," she commanded, her voice steady and resolute. The Prometheus unleashed its full arsenal, a dazzling array of energy beams, missiles, and exotic particles that the Zarthak had never seen before. The swarm command ship's defenses crumbled under the assault, its hull breaching in multiple places. Suddenly, a massive energy surge erupted from the dying swarm vessel. Sarah's enhanced senses screamed a warning milliseconds before her sensors could confirm it. Evasive action. She yelled, but she knew it was too late. The swarm ship exploded in a blinding flash of light, the detonation far more powerful than it should have been. As the shockwave approached, Sarah realized with horror that the Swarm Queen had triggered some kind of doomsday device. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as Sarah's enhanced mind raced through possibilities. There was no way to avoid the blast entirely. It was too large, too fast. But perhaps, all power to forward shields. She commanded, her fingers flying over the neural interface. Brace for impact. The shockwave hit the Prometheus like a physical wall, the ship groaning under the strain. Alarms blared as systems overloaded and failed. Sarah felt the neural connection falter, her enhanced senses dimming as the ship's computer struggled to maintain the link. As quickly as it had begun, the chaos subsided. Sarah blinked, her vision slowly returning to normal. The bridge was a mess, consoles sparking and crew members pulling themselves back to their stations. "Status report," she croaked, tasting blood in her mouth. Her XO, looking as battered as she felt, responded shakily. "We're alive, Admiral." "Barely. But the swarm, they're gone. Completely vaporized." Sarah turned her attention to the main view screen, now flickering and distorted. Where the massive swarm fleet had been, there was now nothing but debris and dissipating energy. But the Zarthak remained, their ships regrouping, preparing for a final push. As Sarah surveyed the battered but unbroken human fleet, she knew that the real test was yet to come. The swarm might be defeated, but the Zarthak were still a formidable foe. And now, with the Prometheus protocol pushed to its limits, humanity would have to face them without their newfound advantage. The final battle for the fate of humanity and the galaxy was about to begin, and Sarah Chen knew that it would take every ounce of human ingenuity, determination, and sheer will to survive what was coming next. Triumph of the human spirit. The aftermath of the swarm's destruction left an eerie calm in the battlefield. Debris floated silently through space, a graveyard of shattered ships and broken dreams. On the bridge of the HSS Prometheus, Admiral Sarah Chen fought to keep her focus as the effects of Project Prometheus began to wear off. "Status report," she commanded, her voice hoarse from the strain of the past hours. Her XO, Commander Jack Harper, limped to her side. "It's not good, Admiral. The Prometheus protocol has burned out in most of our ships. We're running on standard systems now, and half the fleet is either destroyed or crippled." Sarah nodded grimly. They had known the risks of pushing their biology so far. Now they were facing the consequences. But the battle wasn't over yet. And the Zarthak. Harper's face darkened. "They're regrouping. Our last strike hurt them, but they still outnumber us. Intel suggests they're preparing for a final push." As if on cue, the ship's AI announced, "Incoming transmission from the Zarthak flagship." Sarah straightened, ignoring the pain that shot through her battered body. On screen, the alien visage of the Zarthak Supreme Commander filled the view screen, its tentacles writhing with barely contained fury. "Humans," it hissed, the translator struggling to convey the depth of emotion in its alien voice. "You have proven to be more resilient than we anticipated. But this ends now. Surrender, and we may yet show mercy." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "You attacked us unprovoked, tried to exterminate our species, and now you speak of mercy." The Zarthak commander's body pulsed with color. "You are a threat to the galaxy, a species that can evolve on a whim, that thrives on conflict. You must be contained." "We evolve because we must," Sarah retorted. "We adapt to survive. But we don't seek conflict. We seek understanding. It was you who chose war." The alien was silent for a moment, its crystalline eyes studying Sarah intently. "Then you leave us no choice. Prepare for annihilation. As the transmission cut off, Sarah turned to her crew. She saw the fear in their eyes, the exhaustion etched on their faces. But beneath it all, she saw something else. Determination. "This is it," she said, her voice carrying across the bridge. "Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment. We may not have our enhancements anymore, but we have something the Zarthak will never understand. The human spirit." A cheer went up from the crew, echoed across the comms from the other ships in the fleet. Sarah felt a swell of pride. This was humanity at its best, facing impossible odds with unwavering courage. "All ships, battle formations," she commanded. "We end this here and now." As the human fleet moved into position, the Zarthak launched their assault. Energy beams lanced through space, missiles streaked towards their targets. But the humans were ready. Without the Prometheus protocol, they had to rely on skill, instinct, and sheer determination. Ships danced through the void, their maneuvers not as precise as before but fueled by the indomitable will of their crews. On the Prometheus, Sarah coordinated the defense, her tactical mind working overtime to find advantages where none seemed to exist. "Concentrate fire on their flagship," she ordered. "If we can take out their command, we might just have a chance." The battle raged on, a titanic struggle between two species fighting for their very existence. Human ships fell to Zarthak weapons, but for every loss, the remaining crews fought harder, pushing themselves to limits they never knew they had. In the midst of the chaos, a small fighter piloted by Lieutenant Zoran Kosi saw an opening. "Admiral," she called over the comms, "I have a shot at their flagship's main reactor, but it's a one-way trip." Sarah hesitated for a split second. "Lieutenant, that's a suicide mission." "I know, Mom," Zara replied, her voice calm. "But it's our best shot. For Earth. For humanity." Before Sarah could respond, Zora's fighter broke formation, streaking towards the Zarthak flagship. Point defense systems opened fire, but Zara's piloting was impeccable, dodging and weaving through the barrage. "She's not going to make it," Harper muttered, watching the tactical display. But Zara's voice came over the comms one last time. "Never underestimate a human with nothing left to lose." Her fighter, engines overloading, slammed into the Zarthak flagship's reactor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a blinding explosion tore through the massive alien vessel. The Zarthak fleet, suddenly without central command, fell into disarray. Sarah saw her chance. All ships pressed the attack. Don't let up. What followed was a testament to human tenacity. Outnumbered and outgunned, the human fleet fought with a ferocity that shocked even the Zarthak. Ships rammed into enemy vessels when they ran out of weapons. Crews pushed their bodies and minds to the breaking point and beyond. "We faced extinction and emerged victorious," she said, her voice strong despite the scars of battle. "But our greatest challenge lies ahead. We must prove to the galaxy and to ourselves that we are more than just survivors. We are explorers, peacekeepers, innovators. Our ability to adapt, to push ourselves beyond our limits, is not a weapon but a tool. A tool to build a better future for all sentient beings." As Sarah's words echoed across the stars, humanity looked to the future with hope and determination. They had discovered the power within themselves, faced their greatest fears, and emerged stronger. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. In the vastness of space, on distant worlds, and in the hearts of 1 billion humans, a new era had begun. An era of possibility, of discovery, and of the indomitable human spirit. The end, or perhaps just the beginning.